Well, good evening, everybody. It's lovely to see so many here. And feel free to post in the chat box. So if you look to your right, there's two little bubbles that say chat. And if you click that, you can then write in the message. So hi, Karen. Hi, Irene. You can hear us. That's great. If you just post a little message to say that you can hear us. Hello, Katie. And I think that's good evening from Jerusalem. Is that correct? That's great. If you're connecting from outside the UK, please feel free to put where you're from. Hi, Nina. Oh, and Karen and Salish are on. So that's good. So it takes a little while to refresh the presentation, so we'll just give everybody a bit of time to connect. So we're getting plenty of people coming in. So we've had 201 registered for tonight, which is far more than before. So we'll just see how many connect. So we've got 55 have joined at the minute, 55 attendees. Hi, Greg. Hi, Claudia. Hi, Danielle. Glad you've managed to log on, Danielle. That's good. Hello, Thomas. So just a few little things. If you're losers for whatever reason tonight, if you log out somehow, just refresh the screen and you should be able to log back in and see us. So we've got a really exciting lineup for tonight, some exciting announcements. So we're really excited that you can join us, and it'll be well worth your attending. So let's see how many we've got now. Yeah, good. So just while everybody's logging in, I'm just going to give you a little preview about the announcement that we're going to be making. And to do that, I'm going to show a little video. It's only 30 seconds long, but it'll just get you intrigued as to what we're going to be announcing. So you'll wonder what this is about, but I'm just going to run it now and you can see what's going on. All about very, very shortly. But if we're all ready, we're going to go into the presentation. There's 59 viewing now, so we'll just, there's a couple of requests, so just let me, yeah, they're on. So just as a reminder, if you've any questions during the presentation, feel free to write them in the message. If you've any questions, just click the white bubble and it'll turn to a red question so that we know you've got a question to ask us. And feel free to do that as often as possible. The questions will be stored on this screen, so everybody will see your message and it will be recorded for all time. So just be careful what you put, but we will answer them throughout this presentation. So we're now going to be looking at parasites, and at the end of this presentation we'll have some more information for you. So we're just going to run that now and enjoy. So parasites, and what's really interesting is this is a massive subject, is parasites, and we could do a number of webinars just on parasites alone. But interesting, and we're going to just very slightly touch on the fact that parasites, they bring into the body more than just themselves. So we're going to cover that a little bit. And Cassandra has put together this information for this presentation, which we're really pleased about. Cassandra is the representative for Regamed in Greece. So we've appreciated her input on the webinars and her support. So we thank you for that. So we're going to get to that in a minute. But also, what's coming up tonight is we're going to be looking at the impulse generator, which is a device which delivers square frequency waves, which helps to stimulate or aggravate a pathogen or parasite. So that can make treatment quite effective. And we've got a special offer on those tonight. There's only 7 left, I think, with Regamed, which we've purchased and made them available at a special price. So we'll touch on that shortly. Also, there's the Regamed Protector now. As you'll have known from the invitation for this webinar, we're actually giving away one Regamed Protector to somebody. So what we'll do at the end of this webinar, we'll know who's logged on to watch, and then that will go into a hat, and we'll have a live draw at the April one. It's a random email picker. So that will be good fun. It's just a way of saying thank you for what you've been able to do in supporting us by watching the webinars and hopefully learning from it too. And then also we've got quite an important training announcement. So that's really exciting news. We're looking forward to sharing that with you. So let's just get into the leaflet that we've done for this webinar. You'll know every month we produce a separate leaflet on the subject that we're discussing. And I really like this one. The artist has done a great job this year. I said I'd like you to portray a parasite, but yeah, it's bringing something in addition to itself. So I quite like how he's portrayed that. The heading that we've got there, killed more people than wars, with a question mark, because how can you prove that? I don't know. But it was the National Geographic on one of their programs that actually started off with that heading. So there's obviously some element of truth in it that parasites have been responsible for a good number of deaths, probably a lot of it unreported, but certainly in some countries it's very well known that parasites have killed plenty of people. So it's strange because certainly in the UK not much emphasis is given on parasites like it used to be. It used to be common that you could have worming tablets for your children. Strangely, dogs are still given worming tablets and other pets. Farmers regularly are involved in worming, but when it comes to humans, it's that's not possible. We couldn't have parasites. So this is just a little leaflet that we've put together, and I'm sure you're going to find it interesting. On the inside page, you'll notice that we've covered diagnosing, which is using the unmask ampule from the degenerated cells kit just to open up some cellular activity similar to what the impulse generator does. So we'll that's discussed a little bit, not to the same depth that's in the courses, but we just touch on this subject. Also, really interestingly, allergies have connections to parasites. So certain foods you might find a parasite, like if somebody's got a milk intolerance, they could well have Ascaris. If they've got Aspergillus, they may have a wheat intolerance, and there's a number of other things that connections, relationships. Also, fungal infections could be caused by tapeworms, pinworms, Ascaris, and Lambalia, which is interesting. Tumours, so if somebody's got cancer, often you might find Phaseolopsis busci as well. Then lung problems, certainly asthma, you always need to check for Ascaris and other things. Milk allergy, again, Ascaris. Egg allergies could be a result of Salmonella. Wheat allergy, Erythrema pancreatum, which is the pancreatic fluke, and we've found that with people with diabetes. So once we've done the parasite cleanse, then we find that sometimes on some patients, even the insulin dependency has gone down because of getting rid of that particular parasite. Hashimoto's, so thyroid issues, toxoplasma, that's something to look for. So we'll look at some other things, but it's a really fascinating subject. We'll look at some of the changes you can make to programs on the BICOM to try different settings other than the standard 191 or 998. So that's the one side of it. Then the other side is things that you can do if you want to rid your body of parasites or prevent reinfection of parasites. So detoxing your body is an important step because amalgam, mercury, other metals, parasites can feed off them. Sometimes you can have a symbiotic relationship with parasites where parasites can actually be doing some good if they're taking in some of these pathogens from the body. So that's worth learning about, certainly, which we'll go into more depth in the courses. Of course, we helped massively with the BICOM machine, able to detect energetic imbalances due to parasites or parasites themselves. So we cover that. Also cooking meat very well. Probably sure none of you have sushi anymore, although you may well have done at some time. When we get to learn what parasites can do in the body, then we often avoid undercooked meat of all sorts. Then we're going to look at the different types of parasites, so intracellular, things that are in the body, extracellular, things outside the cells, and other things outside the body. So we'll be looking at bugs. We're looking at not letting animals lick you. That's another way that parasites can be transferred. Then we'll look at the zapper or the impulse generator as well. A herbal cleanse that can be used. We'll have a look at that. And then just generally keeping your hands clean and well washed. Interesting as well, this little leaflet that we've got looks at symptoms that may be experienced with parasites, and then also foods that can help as well. So that's an interesting list of foods that we could use. So coming on to the zapper, this is something that's discussed in the webinar, and Alan Baclian produced this zapper with Germany. So it delivers a 3.6 hertz frequency and a 1550 hertz frequency, which is just a square wave, it will aggravate cells and help with testing and with treatment. So there's Regamed have only got 7 left, and they're normally £180, but we're doing them for anybody, the first 7 people really that go on and order one for 144, which is good value. So a few of you will already have this zapper and have been using it, certainly used with cancer patients as well. So feel free to order that when the link comes up. So we also promised you, as we said earlier, the Regamed Protector. Well, what is it? Well, it actually protects the home from electromagnetic pollution. So it could be phone waves, Wi-Fi waves, radio, TV, those sorts of things. And it's been tested to go 10 meters in any direction. And there's actually studies been done on this, which you can download from the website. I'll put the link on here so that you can see just how effective it is. Quite expensive, £550, but as we said earlier, one person will be able to get one of these for free. Next month it'll be announced. So we're just going to play the pre-recording now for Dr. Hulda Clark and her research into parasites. It was added to the recording of the last webinar in February. It was the 10 minutes that was missing. So we're just going to play that now because this is where it belongs, right in this section. So enjoy this little clip. Dr. Clark was ostracised for her views on parasites and the role they played in chronic diseases, and she ended up having to practice in Mexico. She was very outspoken and felt that, like others, her findings were the sole cause of cancer. She even said in one of her books that a certain parasite was the cause of cancer, and that by removing this parasite, the cancer would go. It's important for those of us watching that we understand that there is rarely a single cause for cancer. To say that there is, and that we have a cure, is irresponsible and often illegal. What is interesting is Dr. Clark found, with her very detailed studies and grovelling around in toilet bowls, that parasites and pollution basically cause lots of diseases. And parasites are not just worms or flukes, but can be microorganisms, sometimes as small as a virus. She also found that these parasites bring not just themselves, but like a Trojan horse concept, the parasite is carrying bacteria. There are viruses inside the bacteria, and in fact she found that mold and certain funguses are inside the parasite. So the parasite becomes like a train, but rather than carrying people, the passengers are all of these other microorganisms in the body. And since her findings were radical at the time, it's now been proven that what she said was true. And what's really interesting is how these parasites and different microorganisms get into the body in the first place. And what Dr. Clark proved is that the immune system becomes suppressed. And it's been suppressed by so many things in today's society, often because of over-the-counter medications being taken too much and low levels of hydrochloric acid in the stomach. We were designed to have the right levels of hydrochloric acid, which would kill these microorganisms, including Salmonella, which we could get from mishandling eggs and butter and dairy products. Shigella as well, which is a bacteria. E. coli, which we've heard about from the outbreaks of people not properly washing their hands after using the bathroom. And farmers in some countries actually go into the bathroom on their crops. And if people aren't washing their fruit, they are asking for big trouble. And even if we are washing our fruit, and often due to older age or children being born with conditions passed from the mother, if we don't have enough stomach acid that could kill this harmful bacteria, then these things can crawl through the body and take over the biological terrain at will. What Dr. Clark proved is that these parasites that normally are killed by the stomach acid are now crawling through the body because we thought the best thing for acid indigestion was antacids, which we end up taking like sweets. Then we are eating food that properly couldn't be digested. In addition, we are eating too much food which is deficient in enzymes. And when we overcook food, we kill the enzymes. And when we kill the enzymes, we are asking our stomach acid to do the extra work for us. Dr. Clark found that we've reduced our stomach acids to such low levels that we cannot process food properly. She found with certain patients, like cancer patients, that sometimes there's hardly any stomach acid left. Hydrochloric acid is our first level of defence, which is now missing. The second level of defence, which seems to be more frightening, is that once the parasites are inside the body, the liver has been given the capability as a second shot to kill these microorganisms. But now, when the liver accumulates alpha toxins, which is a naturally occurring metabolite produced by certain fungi such as Aspergillus, a mold found on the food products such as some fruits, corn and peanuts, it actually acts as a potent liver carcinogen. It's the brown spot that we see in the fruit, and then what happens, the liver has an additional fight, and the liver can become chronically weak because of it. And at that point, which she discovered using her synchrometer, which we can test with a Bicom in a similar way, she actually found that the weakness caused by the alpha toxin in the mold has actually allowed certain other chemicals to weaken the liver further, including alcohol. And believe it or not, people that don't drink alcohol still have alcohol in the body. You're eating mold because when you ate your banana or apple, which had a brown spot, you might not have seen it, but you actually ate mold and fungus. And once that's in the liver, it loves a dark cold place, and at 37 degrees it's just right. The mold will grow like a petri dish in your liver. And once it starts to grow and alcohol becomes a byproduct, we now have a suppressed immune system, and liver parasites can now take over your biological terrain. And what we used to think is that parasites used to only live in the colon,
but according to many scientists and researchers, including Dr. Clark, is that these parasites are crawling through the body at will. This is very frightening thought, because if these parasites then lay eggs, these hatch, and the larvae are crawling through the body, they are also seeking out tissues that are extremely nutritious for them. For example, the brain, the heart, the liver, and other body parts. Once these body parts are invaded by parasites, other diseases will follow. And Dr. Clark found the one real dangerous parasite is the Phaseolopsis buscae. And what's most interesting about the Phaseolopsis buscae, which I've got a picture of here, it will show that it's a fairly large parasite and is actually hosted in snails. And up until recently, we thought that this particular parasite was only found in Chinese snails. But any research that you look up now, we used to say that Phaseolopsis buscae is found just in snails in China. But what Dr. Clark did was she sent for samples all around the world. And she took the snail and found a specific chemical toxin in the snail called phosphothyrosin. And every time she did this, she found the Phaseolopsis buscae in the snail or its larval stages. What was most interesting is that she found the Phaseolopsis buscae in the snails that she brought from all over America and Canada, which really means that you can find this parasite anywhere. It's very common in sheep here in the UK. Infected snails could be crawling on your garden, scrolling up the side of your house, and that friendly little snail is carrying the Phaseolopsis buscae in all of its stages, which is really harmless when you look at the big picture until the cow eats the snail. Parasite stages can be on the grass, and then the Phaseolopsis buscae ends up in the cow or the pig or the sheep, and we find we're actually eating parasite stages. To make it a little bit more dangerous, when you start spraying your lawn with manure, you're possibly bringing larval stages and eggs into your garden. If it's an allotment, you're actually putting animal feces on your food and eating it because there's no way to properly wash all of the food to the extent that we really need to. Up until the last few years, we've been able to depend on our stomach acid to kill this parasite. But now, and with the addition of isopropyl alcohol, which Dr. Clark has proven can accumulate in the liver, and if there's the alpha toxin and the mould there, then the Phaseolopsis buscae is now able to hatch in the liver and then run through the body at will and seek out a possible tumour site. And in addition, as we've discussed, the metabolic byproduct, phosphothyrosin. When all these combine, she actually found these present in 100% of her cancer cases. So, it's important that we treat these potential threats to the immune system. We will cover just how to do this in some of our courses, but you will need to check and treat the following. Using the CTT ampules, use Parasite Ampule Kit, use the Leech and the Liver Fluke ampules. In the Virus and Fungi Kit, use elimination of alpha toxins and the Aspergillus ampule. Of course, there's the bacteria test set too. In addition, we suggest the Hulda Clark Parasite Cleanse. We find taking the individual herbs to a strict schedule better than some of the combined pills. And here is the protocol, which you can download here.
So, fascinating story about Dr. Hulda Clark, and there's some great books that you can read on Dr. Hulda Clark and her work with parasites. So now we're going to come into the main presentation, which is that of parasites and how they work in the body and what we can do about it. So sit back and enjoy this part.
So in this BICOM event, we will be discussing the wonderful subject of parasites. We would like to thank Cassandra, the BICOM agent in Greece, for the information provided here. You might think though, what a gross subject and many conventional doctors may well tell you that parasites are no longer a serious problem. However, large pathological studies of cadavers in America has showed that parasites were present in over 50% of the cases. Veterinary surgeons regularly find parasites within animals and often prescribe antiparasitic drugs. In some European countries, worming tablets are given regularly to children, but for some reason it's a subject rarely discussed in most westernised countries. But the reality is that parasitic burdens and associated chronic diseases are a credible and serious threat to health. Almost all humans suffer from some chronic parasitic burden, so like it or not, each and every one of us will have some sort of parasite either living on us or in us. So what are parasites? The word parasite comes from the Greek word parasitos, with para meaning alongside and sitos meaning food, therefore meaning eating at the side of. Being a parasite was an accepted lifestyle whereby a person could live off the hospitality of others and in return provide flattery or simple services and a willingness to endure humiliation. But in general, a parasite is an organism that lives within another organism, using the resources of the host to fuel its own lifestyle. Parasites are much smaller than their host, and they reproduce at a faster rate. Parasites are incredibly varied. Groups of organisms, around 70% of parasites, are microscopic. Parasites are an incredibly varied group of organisms. Around 70% of parasites are microscopic in size, such as the malarial parasite. However, some worm parasites can reach over 30 meters in length, such as a tapeworm. The parasite benefits at the expense of the host. Parasites use the host to gain strength, and the host loses some of its strength as a result. The parasite is dependent on its host for survival. It has to be in the host to live, grow, and multiply. Parasites cannot live independently. Although parasites rarely kill the host, in some cases it can happen. Sometimes the host is sacrificed in order to continue a life cycle of the parasite, such as these parasites that need to enter a bird in order to continue its life cycle, and will therefore actually control the actions of the snail, causing it to climb to the top of a tree where it will attract birds by creating a flashing effect within the head of the snail. This leads to the death of the snail, but the survival of the parasite. This type of mind control has been found within fish. The parasite causes the fish to rotate and float to the surface of the water, where its tiny underbelly attracts birds that then eat the fish. There are three main types of parasitic forms: protozoa, which is a single-celled organism. Plasmodium, which causes malaria, is an example. A protozoa can only multiply within the host. Helminths, or worm parasites, an example such as schistosomiasis. Other examples include roundworm, pinworm, trichinaea, tapeworm and flukes. Ectoparasites, well, these live on rather than in their host. These include lice, fleas and some mites. Endoparasites live inside the host, including all parasitic worms, and they can exist in one or two forms. Extracellular parasites inhabiting spaces in the host body, or intracellular parasites inhabiting within the cells of the host body. Intracellular parasites such as the protozoa, bacteria or viruses tend to rely on a third organism, which is generally known as the carrier or vector. The vector does the job of transmitting them to the host. An example of this transmission is malaria, caused by the protozoan Plasmodium. To humans, this can happen by the bite of a mosquito. These parasites, living in an intermediate position, being half ectoparasites and half endoparasites, are called mesoparasites. Well, how big of a problem are parasites? Well, we've seen how animals are consumed by parasites when they die, and exhumed sealed coffins have proven that the same is true of humans. So these parasites must have been present within the body before death. Parasites are found in water reservoirs and soil, and in vegetables, fish and meat. Every vet knows that pets have parasites and should be dewormed at least twice a year. Parasite infestation is a general problem which plays an inevitable role in our lives. Symptoms of parasitic diseases, well, because there are so many species of parasites, possibly well over 1,000, there is a wide array of potential symptoms. Sometimes the symptoms may appear similar to hormone deficiency, pneumonia or food poisoning, allergies, skin conditions, and the list goes on. But here is just a common list. Firstly, you could have an itchy anus or vagina. You may suffer from weight loss or increased appetite, abdominal pain, gas, bad digestion or other symptoms of IBS, diarrhea and vomiting, skin irritations or unexplained rashes, hives, rosacea or eczema, sleeping problems, trouble falling asleep or waking up multiple times during the night, teeth grinding during one's sleep or anemia, aches and pains in muscles or joints, fatigue, exhaustion, depression or frequent feelings of apathy. And we know that bedwetting by children can be caused by bladder parasites. There may be allergies or anxiety. As a matter of fact, a parasite could be the underlying cause for many unexplained and unresolved symptoms. So how can we become infected with parasites? Well, food or water contamination can cause us to pick up roundworms, amoeba, giardia or cryptosporidium. All vector parasites such as mosquitoes carrying heartworm, filarial or malaria, etc. Fleas. All vector parasites such as mosquitoes carrying heartworm or filarial or malaria, etc. Fleas can carry tapeworm, houseflies can carry amoeba, and sandflies can carry leishmania. Also, sexual contact can pass on trichomonas or giardia or amoeba. Then there's inhalation of contaminated dust or air, pinworms, toxoplasma, gondii, those sorts of things. Skin penetration, you can cause hookworms, again, schistosomes, strongyloids, and intrauterine transmission to the fetus. Parasites can enter your body through contaminated food and water. Undercooked meat is a common place for parasites to hide, as well as contaminated water from underdeveloped countries, lakes, ponds or creeks. Unclean or contaminated fruits and vegetables can also harbour parasites. Some parasites can even enter the body by travelling through the bottom of your foot. Once a person is infected with a parasite, it's very easy to pass it along. If you have a parasite and don't wash your hands after using the restroom, you can easily pass on microscopic parasite eggs onto anything you touch, the door handle, the salt shaker, your phone, or anyone you touch. It can be very easy to contract a parasite when handling animals. Travelling overseas is another way that foreign parasites can be introduced to your system. If you consumed any contaminated water during your travels, you may have acquired a parasite of some kind. Chronic diseases are on the rise and have been for the last few decades. The clinical characteristics have become more complicated over the years, and patients present more than one symptom. For instance, headache and constipation, an allergy, cervical spine syndrome, arthritis. And simple therapies are no longer effective. A more complex, holistic approach in treatment needs to be undertaken. Factors that weaken the immune system, such as electromagnetic radiation, geopathic stress, ionizing radiation, then stress from overwork or just the environment that we're living, overacidity, contaminants and other toxins in the air, food and water. And of course, we've discussed already in previous seminars about a lack of nutrients in the food. Minerals and vitamins are lacking in often even organic food. Blocks to the flow of energy in the chakras and meridians. Alongside these factors, a weak detoxification system plays a decisive role in the development of chronic disorders. Intercellular parasites can be diagnosed with the use of the vials either from the parasite CTT test set or from the identification test set by the Schumachers. Programs 191 and 170 can be used retrospectively. Problems in diagnosing parasites might be encountered when we're dealing with intracellular forms, when the parasite is within the cells. Here are different ways to open up the cell membranes and get to the information inside the cell. So program 3460 by Dr. Sabine Rausch, intracellular stress, we can use that one, which is H plus DI, low deep frequency, bandpass of 3.6 Hz, wobbling yes, amplification sweep, amplification DI 15, amplification sweep rate of 50 seconds and therapy time 3 minutes. In the input cup we put saliva and where applicable blood. On the body, the input will be the solar plexus or affected area, the output mat, modulation mat, and the second channel use the unmasked ampule from the degenerated cells test set. Using the unmasked vials from the degenerated cells test set for 2 to 3 minutes with program 192 and then run the test with the parasitic vials. Or another option is to insert the unmasked vial in the input cup of the second channel and run it along with the testing program 191 while testing the parasitic vials. Then we have the zapper. Naturopath Alan Backlien came up with this modification of the zapper that he called the impulse generator. This impulse device transmits a square wave current in the 3.6 Hz range by means of which the content of the cells can be opened and subsequently tested. By means of the impulse generator, not only intracellular parasites can be detected, but also it can help uncover parasites that might have survived bioresonance treatment. Certain stresses such as Borrelia, heavy metals, viruses, and also intracellular blood parasites can be exposed by means of this device using this special frequency. The use of the impulse generator, the unmasked vials, and or the intercellular stress program 3460 should be used at the beginning of each therapy session, especially when addressing chronic illnesses. Parasites can cause allergic reactions in combination with certain foods, so these are some of the frequent combinations listed here. Often a certain food that we suspect to be the cause of symptoms doesn't resonate in our energetic testing, yet once it's tested together with a parasite, it gives a positive test result. So in order to diagnose stress due to the combination of parasite with a food, both vials need to be tested together in the input cup and subsequently treated together with the standard allergy programs, which are listed here, or with the elimination programs. So let's look at some relations between parasites and chronic conditions. Well, fungal infections can be caused by tapeworms, pinworms, ascaris, or Lambalia. Tumours, we often find Fasciolopsis buski, which is an intestinal fluke which can end up in the liver, trichomonads, and also with lung disease, well, this can be caused by Ascaris, as we know, and other things. Milk allergy can be Ascaris, so often you might find children with asthma and also a milk intolerance, which could be Ascaris. Then we've got egg allergies, which could be Salmonella, a wheat allergy, Erythrema pancreatum, which is the pancreatic fluke, and Hashimoto's disease, Toxoplasma. Migraines can be strongyloids. Well, treatment of parasites, let's have a look at the approach with the BICOM. So step 1 would be elimination of blockages and also assess the strength of the immune system's ability to recognise and fight and eliminate intruders. And then we're looking at step 2, elimination of pathogens which can cause stress to the body. We need to address blockages, geopathic stress and radiation. And of course, as always, opening of the elimination organs. Scar interference, balancing of the meridians and chakras, and also addressing other blockages. Tissue block is a plethora of programs available for this on the BICOM. And of course, on the Optima Plus, we have programs 3, 4, 4, 2, and this is a list of what we would do here. So in the input cup, you would have the parasite vials, and again, AI, low deep frequency, band past 12.3 Hz, wobbling no, and so on. And that will be done for 15 minutes. And for all other machines, use programs 191 or 193. The input cup again, the parasite vials, and the output, the modulation mat. And amplification mode and level need to be individually tested. And the same applies to the therapy time. Program sequences on the Optima 10325 and 10326. Again, input cup, the parasite vials. These program sequences are found in Extension Module 1 and the Optima Plus. Treatments need to be repeated every 1 to 3 weeks for an average of 3 to 5 sessions. In some cases, longer therapy may be needed. After having removed the parasite burden, it's advisable to test for heavy metal stress, as they may have been released from the dying off of parasites. We did discuss a bit earlier that parasites actually bring in other bacteria, viruses and other toxins which need to be removed from the body. And that'll be discussed in another section. If a parasite was tested in combination with foods, both vials need to be placed in the input cup and should be treated together. Foods that you can add to your diet. Well, there's fresh pineapple and papaya seeds, bromelain, which help cure worm infestations. Pure pomegranate juice can be effective against tapeworms. Pumpkin seeds help to eliminate worms. Sage, fennel, cloves and thyme are antiparasitic seasonings that can be added to food. Then we've got garlic as a protection against pinworms and hookworms, tapeworms and roundworms. Mugwort tea can help with parasites too. And other foods with antiparasitic properties include onions, cabbage, crushed lemon seeds, blackberries, ground almonds, radishes and figs. Then we're looking at the antiparasitics that we can take. So the Dr. Hulda Clark that we'd looked at the beginning produced a very successful treatment using green black walnut hulls and cloves together with wormwood. The following vitamins and supplements are a great antiparasitic, such as vitamin C in high dose, MSM, zinc and coenzyme Q10, alpha lipoic acid. And then it also mentions here that to take vitamin C and MSM together for a better reaction. Well, we've just very briefly discussed parasites and problems they can cause, along with just a few treatments and dietary additions. There is so much more to this subject, and we will cover some other methods in the online training courses. You'll also find lots more information within the Congress papers. We would like to thank Cassandra again for her preparation of this information, and also to inform you that Cassandra provides classroom training too. Well, that's it on this subject. David Franklin from BICOM UK.
So, very exciting announcement, and that is that BICOM UK and Biomed Australia have joined forces to offer online training. And that's really exciting because Andy Barry and Anna Barry ran a very successful business in Australia for over 20 years. At one point, they had 7 machines constantly going, and they've trained many people following the RegAmed protocols. But then with their experience as therapists, they've changed a few things. So it's really exciting that we're working with them, because what we've done is we've taken their exceptional classroom training sessions and we've moved them to an online forum, and we'll show you just how that works. And we've tried to make sure that we get the quality of training that you would get in a classroom even better in an online setting. When we say even better, it's you'll actually have visual demonstrations of how to do something. You'll have printed manuals, and you'll also have the online manuals, and there'll be little quizzes at each section, so you can focus on a section, watch a video and a demonstration, and do a little quiz, and then once you've done that and passed, you move on to the next section. So we believe that you're going to be able to be a lot more focused than you possibly would be in a classroom with the obvious distractions. And I don't know if you find it that you can be in a classroom for a day and you might have only retained 20 minutes of the information or something. So we're trying to improve on that. We understand that. So we're thinking that when things are on video, people do that a lot these days. They watch the video and then they go off and do a test, and they can keep watching it and going back to it. So that's why we think it's going to be incredibly successful. So this is Andrew Barry, Dr. Andrew Barry, and he was born and educated in Scotland. So it's great to have that UK connection, even though we're quite a few thousand miles apart now. His early career was spent developing X-ray photoelectron spectroscopy, a technique for analysing the surfaces of materials, such as those used in the semiconductor industry. And the latter part of his 26-year research career was as a research director at Europa Scientific, applying physics and chemistry to developing instrumentation for environmental and medical applications. One of the most notable successes in the medical field was the development of an automated non-radioactive carbon-13 breath testing device for detection of active Helicobacter pylori, the bacteria shown to be responsible for stomach ulcers by the 2005 Nobel Prize winners. Another was in nitrogen, working with colleagues at Medical Research Council labs using nitrogen-15 isotopes to trace how amino acids were incorporated into proteins in the body. As Andrew had a long-standing interest in yoga and Qigong and their concept of biological energy, when he read about bioresonance in a health magazine, he saw this as something which combined his interests in both Eastern philosophies and instrumentation. He attended a seminar in London, was inspired, and went on to complete the training courses. That was in 1997, and since then he's attended the annual BICOM Congress in Germany several times, presenting papers on 2 occasions. So you don't get many better credentials than that, so it's wonderful to have Andy producing material for us that will go on to help people for many, many years. Also his wife Anna, she again was born in England, and she began her work in life teaching in schools. Later she undertook postgraduate studies and received an MA in creative writing. She spent some time as a freelance journalist, including writing science articles that put complex technical topics into everyday language. Later, she was a lecturer at Keele University, teaching creative writing, and she's responsible for writing the BICOM training manuals, which we've converted to online versions. So particularly the fundamentals course is one that I know Anna is very passionate about. She suffered from Crohn's disease since childhood, and when she was helped by the 5 Elements Chinese medicine, it inspired her to pursue a career in complementary health. This training included Chinese medicine, holistic therapies and counselling. Later she qualified as an NLP practitioner, training with Dr. Richard Bandler and Paul McKenna in London. Impressed with the results of bioresonance therapy, she trained as a bioresonance practitioner. As some time had passed since her holistic therapy course in UK, she recently updated her nutrition knowledge and naturopathic nutrition. So we're excited again to have that sort of knowledge, and the manuals are more interesting than what you would probably expect from fairly detailed manual. So this is the training part of the website. Now it's completely different to the bioresonance.com site. It's a subdomain of that, so it's got its own look and feel. It's purely designed for online courses. So this is, when you go to training.bioresonance.com, this is the page that you'll see. So there's an introductory video explaining why to do online courses. As you scroll down, it'll tell you the number of courses, the number of students, teachers and courses completed. But then here you'll see all the various courses that we're doing, and we'll pick on one of these so that you can see exactly how the course works. So on here you've got a link to all the courses, and then a demo course, which will be a free course, and everybody here on the webinar will get access to a free course so that you can see exactly the quality of the training. Then also what we're trying to do, what is important when you do any online training, is that there's a sense of community where people can chat, exchange ideas or ask questions. So this members area will be able to do that, along with groups as well, so groups related to particular courses. So here are some of the instructors, and hopefully we're going to have more and more joining us, where they can present their courses, and we'll convert it to a format for online, and then there'll be a lot of content there. This is just that's come off the template, but there's options where you can have yourselves on as students with your profile and people can get to know you. And then we have a built-in shop as well, where you can get some of the books that are suggested reading that appear throughout the courses. So to see the courses, you have to log on, and to do that you have to register. So you do that by clicking the register here. Now this is where you put in a username, email address and a password, and then this is where you can put your profile, so the name that you'd like people to know you as, and a little bit of text, and then you press complete sign up. If you notice on the left side of the screen here, BICOM training, there's nothing appears here, but this will change when you register. So I'm going to go to log on because I've already logged on. So I've already registered. So now you'll see that up here there's my name, there's my profile image, but here what it's done is activated all the sections that I need. So there's the profile where you can change your name and various other things. Then you're given awards as you complete various sections of a course. Then my courses, if you've done a few courses, then they'll all be there for you to be able to go back and re-watch or relearn some of the courses. then the community side comes in now, where you've got inbox and friends and groups and notifications, and then settings that you can change. So if I go to this one, the first one, basic training, an overview, and click on it, this takes you to the course, and you can actually click this and watch an introductory video which tells you all about it. And here you'll see that there's 46 steps that need to be completed in this course. Here it gives you the lessons, so you've got introduction, concepts of medicine, therapeutic concepts, scientific principles, and so on. And then under each one of these are topics. So if we go to topics, you've got here bioeffect, Western medicine, Eastern medicine. So if we click on one of these, it actually comes up and says, please go back and complete the previous topic. So it won't actually let me go through these until I've done the previous topics. So here, this is one, the introduction. And this is all the information for this particular course. And then when you've done that section, you can then take the quiz. And you can start the quiz. And then here, you're asked a question. Why can information be stored in the body? And you've got to answer one of these questions correctly. So if I go, the options are because we are at least 70% water, if we don't have regular bowel movements, if we are inside a building too much, so on. So let's just click one of these. I'll deliberately pick the wrong answer. And then it tells me that I'm incorrect. But it gives me the correct answer. So we go to next. And then there's the next questions. And you go on and you can redo these quizzes as well till you get all the scores correct. So very, very powerful. Really excited about it. Really excited. These are going to be really good quizzes, but you'll know how good they are when we send you the link to the demo course as soon as we've done it. Now you'll see just how many courses we're intending to do this year, and there's more going to be coming on. So there's a huge amount of work in here, and we're hopefully going to have them done. First one done March, April, and then they'll just come probably every month from that. But we're doing these webinars and doing the courses. It all takes time. And what I'm going to do now is show you one of the training videos, just a very short one, on testing the conductance value of a patient. And you'll be able to see what we've done to make it look like a real clinic so that you can see exactly what's involved. And all the courses will have this 3D animated clinic that will be used. So that's really, really exciting. The thing is with me, I start going down the rabbit hole. And what I've also done is I thought, what about having a skeleton? So rather than just show placing an electrode on somebody's skin, the question is why was it put there? Why did we put the electrode there in that position? So we've actually got a skeleton that's got organs and things in it, and we'll actually show why the electrode's been placed where it is for some of the lessons. So it's really, really exciting, and this is going to be really good, especially with all the information that Andy's providing, all the manuals that go along with all these courses. So let me just show you that video now, and then we'll come back and discuss a little bit more before we move on. So that video just shows a small amount of what we're doing when it comes to the classroom training sessions. So hopefully you were impressed by that. You'll probably be more impressed when we start getting on to how to do the EAP testing, which we'll demonstrate with video, and it's going to be really invaluable for your learning and training your staff or learning from home. So thank you for looking at this little section, and we'll just keep you updated on each webinar. So just looking for concluding points for this month. We just want to say that we are looking for contributors again. It's next month we'll be discussing Raymond Rife and the virus CancerLink. And also, all being well, we'll have Jenny Blondell as a guest speaker. So we're looking forward to that. We'll give you a bio about Jenny next month, or I'll certainly put it on the introduction for next month that you'll get. So enjoy watching that. So that was quite a long session. Hope you're all still awake, and we hopefully can see the work that's been going into what we've been on with as well. So what I wanted to do now, but I've not been able to load the image, but if you remember the 4 characters that we had in the class, in the clinic, we had the doctor and we had the female patient and male patient. We also had the skeleton, if you can remember that. I'm not able to just play that again now, but just for thought, for a little bit of fun, we're looking for some names for those particular characters. So just for a bit of a fun before we go, let's go for this one. So what shall we call the doctor? Hopefully that's come up onto the screen. So hopefully if you vote there on what we should call the doctor, that'll be a bit of fun and we'll use it. So it's good fun watching this. You see the results of the poll there, Chris?
Yeah.
So far we've got Dr. Pop has dropped down to 8%, Dr. Seymour 25%, Dr. No 23%, Dr. Schumann's in the lead at the minute with 38%. So good. It looks like everybody finished. No, Dr. Seymour and Dr. Schumann are at 35% each. Dr. Seymour 33. Dr. Schumann's in the lead again at 37%. Dr. Schumann 40% now. Neck and neck. So I think we'll end the poll now, but it looks like Dr. Schumann has won, so that's what we're going to call the doctor. So we'll now look at what we should call the skeleton. So this will be a little bit more fun. So there we go. What shall we call the skeleton?
On Bones. So.
Nobody for Max Ilia yet. I thought that was quite a good name, Max Ilia, but no. So Bones, looks like Bones is winning. Kind of threw that one in because it wasn't very inventive, but it looks like it's the favourite. So Bones at 55%. So I think Bones has won that one. So Now the less exciting ones. What shall we call the female patient? So you'll notice that there's a little bit of a connection there. So a little bit of fun. Oh, look at that, Katrina. Everybody loves Katrina. Oh, Cassandra's shooting ahead. I think that was because it was such good information on the parasites tonight, Cassandra. And Katrina's shooting ahead again. 44%. Oh, neck and neck now. Cassandra and Katrina, 37 each. Cassandra's taken the lead again. I think people think they're going to get extra discount, Katrina. Excellent. So I think that's Katrina with 43%. So we'll end that poll now. And finally, we just need a name for the male patient. So here we go. And again, a little bit of a connection there. So see what you think to them. Now, for those that don't know, Florian is the managing director of Regamed, and it was his face that is on all the pictures on the front of the Bicom machine, you know, where it shows the therapy, where to put the electrodes. So Florian really was the original dummy patient for Bicom. So so I think everybody's having a bit of a laugh here. There's David in the lead, Andy shortly behind. So I think that's it. So I think that's the end of the poll. Excellent. So that was a little bit fun anyway. So hope everybody enjoyed that. We'll be sending a link over for the recording. I know there was a lot that already contacted me to say that they won't be able to make it tonight. So could we send them the link? So they will get the link with all the comments on it. I'll just see if there's any questions now on the chat. I think Chris has been answering them. So that's good. We'll let the any more questions, please put them on there. David and Chris, can we order one of the impulse generators with our Tenza? Oh, Karen, yeah. Your Tenza's ready to ship, but you can order an impulse generator for sure. So I don't know if that's still showing, but if I go to... You should see the visit shop sign, Karen, in the chat box, and you can order the generator from there. Thanks, Debbie, for your comments. Yeah, Andy. We couldn't get an avatar like Florian, but we've tried to get as close as we can. So any more questions? Yeah, thanks everybody for your comments. Thanks everybody for supporting it. And we'll look forward to explaining more about the training sessions as they come on. Next month, we'll have a lot more to discuss. So hope everybody enjoyed that. And we mentioned contributors. You know, it's a hard work putting all this information together. And if anybody would like to contribute, it's great. It's collecting the information that's the hard thing. But we'll let you all leave now. And so until next webinar in April, we wish you all success in your therapies, in whatever you're doing, and we'll see you again shortly. So bye for now.